made in rolling out the curriculum-based program, CBC, in marginalized regions, including adequacy of infrastructure and the availability of learning materials tailored to CBC requirements. 2, the challenges faced by schools in marginalized counties in effectively implementing the CBC, including issues relating to teacher preparedness and community awareness. 3, the interventions by the national government and county administration to train and support teachers in delivering CBC in marginalized areas. 4, measures put in place by the State Department for basic education to ensure equitable access to CBC for all learners, with specific focus on girls, children with disabilities, and other vulnerable groups. And lastly, the strategies established to monitor and evaluate the quality and impact of CBC in marginalized counties to inform policy and guide resource allocation. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Eddy for and on behalf of Senator Sifuna.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I rise to request for statement on behalf of the Senator for Nairobi, Senator Edwin Sifuna. And this is a statement, a request for statement on lack of electricity access in parts of Nairobi City County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Energy on a matter of county-wide concern regarding the continued lack of access to electricity in various neighborhoods across Nairobi City County. Mr. Speaker, sir, several areas across Nairobi continue to suffer from power deprivation, either due to prolonged disconnection, non-existence infrastructure, or unexpected neglect. This situation has led to increased insecurity, stifled economic activity, and deepened inequality in places that include Hospital Ward in Mathare constituency, which has been without electricity for over 4 years. 2, Majengo Gorofani in Kamukunji constituency, which has been in darkness for 2.5 years, yet residents still receive Kenya Power bills. 3, Korogosho Ward in Roraka constituency, where, Mr. Speaker, the entire villages such as Gomongo, Ngunyunu, Gitathuru, Iridge, Grogon A, and Grogon B, Korogosho A, Korogosho B, and Nyayo remain unconnected. 3, Reri Gateway, Simba Cool Zone, and Bantu Zone in Kwaruben Ward of Embakasi South, which continue to live without any access to electricity. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, in this statement, the committee should address the following: the plans in place by the Kenya Power to reconnect electricity to Hospital Ward in Mathare constituency, which has been without power for 4 years. 2, the current status and timeline for reconnecting Majengo Gorofani in Kamkunji constituency, where residents have lived in darkness for 2.5 years, yet they continue to be billed. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, whether there are concrete plans by Kenya Power to connect the unserved villages in Gorogosho Ward, that is Gomongo, Ngunyunu, Gitadhuru, Highbridge, Grogan A, and Grogan B, Gorogosho A, and Gorogosho B, and Nyayo, and the areas of Reri Gateway, Simba Cool Zone, and Bantu Zone in Kwaruben Ward, Embakasi. The Senator for Nairobi, Senator Edwin Sifuna. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Haji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 52-1 to make a statement on a matter of general topical concern, namely the outstanding performance by Faith Kipyegon and Beatrice Chebet at the Eugene Diamond League 2025 Prefontaine Classic held on 5th July 2025 in Eugene, Oregon, USA. Mr. Speaker, can I be protected?
Order, honorable senators. May Senator Haji be heard in silence, please. Proceed, honorable senator.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, Faith Kipyegon's victory in athletics is rooted in humility and determination. Born on 10th January 1994 as the 8th of 9 children to a modest family in Bomet County, she ran barefoot to school and began athletics at the age of 14, after excelling in a physical education PE race, even before owning her first spikes. Her early triumphs include edging out older rivals to claim gold at both the 2011 and 2013 World Cross Country Juniors, and clinching the 1,500-meter titles at the 2011 World Youth and 2012 World Junior Championships. Mr. Speaker, sir, as a senior, her track record over the years speaks volumes. 3-time Olympic champion in the 1,500 meters, Rio 2016, Tokyo 2020, and Paris 2024. 3-time world champion, London 2017, Eugene 2022, and Budapest 2023. Diamond League champion on multiple occasions, including memorable wins in Monaco, Brussels, and Paris. And 2023 world record treble, breaking world records in 1,500 meters, 5,000 meters, and the mile within just 2 months. Mr. Speaker, sir, reflecting on her record-breaking run at the Florence Diamond League, Kipyegon spoke warmly of the role competition played, noting how her rivals stayed with her in the chase. And I quote, Mr. Speaker, sir, Senator Cherargei is making too much noise. Reflecting on her record-breaking run at the Florence Diamond League, Kipyegon spoke warmly of the role competition played, noting how her rivals stayed with her in the chase. To be honest, she says, and I quote, "To be honest, the ladies were pushing me in the race, and that is what I wanted to motivate the younger generation to come and do even better," she said, moved by the sight of competitors gathering to cheer her on as she came around for her lap of honor. During the Eugene Diamond League 2025, in the women's 1,500 meters, Faith Kipyegon delivered a phenomenal performance by clocking an astonishing time of 3 minutes, 48.68 seconds, thereby breaking her previous record of 3 minutes, 49.04 seconds set during the Paris Diamond League in July 2023. This breathtaking feat reaffirms her dominance and relentless pursuit of excellence in middle distance running. What makes this achievement even more remarkable is that it comes just 9 days after she narrowly missed becoming the first woman in history to run a mile under 4 minutes, a feat she has long pursued and which remains within her grasp. But she still managed to achieve to run the fastest mile in history by any woman. On the same evening, Mr. Speaker, sir, Beatrice Chebet demonstrated sheer brilliance and tactical mastery to claim victory in the women's 5,000 meters. This was not just a win, but a historic achievement as she broke the world record, clocking an impressive 13 minutes, 58 seconds, 58.06 seconds, shaving more than 2 seconds off the previous record set by Ethiopia's Gudaf Segei in Eugene, Oregon in 2022. This made her the first woman in history to run the 5,000 meters under 14 minutes. Chebet's performance was described as a display of sheer brilliance and tactical mastery, as she led from start to finish, maintaining a blistering pace throughout the race. Mr. Speaker, sir, Faith Kipyegon and Beatrice Chebet, two friends who embody the very best of Kenyan talent, combining discipline, resilience, and unmatched skill. Their success in Eugene, Oregon reminds us all of the immense potential that lies within our nation. when talent is nurtured and supported. These two remarkable athletes have once again lifted the Kenyan flag high on the global stage. Their achievements are a testament to Kenya's enduring legacy in athletics and serves as a powerful source of inspiration for the youth across the country. Mr. Speaker, sir, on my behalf, and on behalf of the Senate and the people of Kenya, I extend a heartfelt congratulations to Faith Kipyegon and Beatrice Chebet for their incredible victories. We celebrate them not only as champions of the track, but as role models for the entire nation. May they continue to shine and inspire future generations as they prepare for more global competitions. I thank you.
Now, honorable senators will come back to this order for purposes of getting comments from honorable senators. But for now, pursuant to Standing Order 45-2, allow me, for the convenience of the House, to rearrange today's order paper. We will now move to order number 8, number 9, and number 8, then number 9, and number 10. Then we come back for comments. Clerk, you may proceed to call those orders.
Order number 8, the Seeds and Plant Varieties Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 4 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of Parliament to amend the Seeds and Plant Varieties Act to introduce a standards-based seed registration system to facilitate timely approval of the seeds varieties and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 9, the Social Protection Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2025, second reading, division.
Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the division bell for 1 minute. No, it's ringing. Sergeant at arms, kindly ring the division bell for further 3 minutes.
Well, the senators are about to go into division regarding the Social Protection Bill. This is a bill originating from the National Assembly. The Social Protection Bill number 12 of 2025, a bill that is co-sponsored by the Senate Majority Leader, Honorable Aaron Cheruiyot. This is a bill that is at its second reading stage, and the vote that they will be taking is that the bill be read a second time for it to be able to proceed into the next stage, that is it being considered at the Committee of the Whole. And this is a bill that seeks to reduce poverty and vulnerability and improve the well-being of people by providing assistance, services and programs that build human capital, as well as cushion people against risks and contingencies throughout their life cycles. The bill provides for the establishment of the National Board for Social Protection. You will recall that there are already a number of programs that are targeting to reduce poverty and vulnerability among the citizenry of Kenya. However, this is a bill that proposes the establishment of a National Board for Social Protection. And in that particular board, their functions and composition will be defined, the powers that they will be possessing, as well as its source of funds. Some of the functions of the board will include advising the Cabinet Secretary on matters relating to social protection, designing and implementing social protection interventions, as well as programs, also providing social assistance and social care to the vulnerable persons in the society, also coordinating social protection interventions, establishing and maintaining a social protection registry, among other mandates, as will be defined within their functions or their powers. The 3-minute division bell has ended. The House has attained the quorum for the vote to be taken. As we can see that the clerk is trying to ascertain whether the number is present. If the number is present, then they will go ahead into the division process. We shall be waiting to be guided by the House, but this is a bill that also touches on the counties and therefore has been forwarded to the Senate for consideration. Debate already took place conclusively or comprehensively on the floor of the House. So the voting is for it to be read a second time and move into the next stage. The next stage, that is where, in case the members have any amendments into the bill, then they will be able to consider those amendments, proposals, and then they will also be shared back to the National Assembly for consideration. So we shall be waiting to see if the quorum is present for the division to take place. Then that would, without any further delay, continue. This is a bill that provides for the administration of social protection benefits as well. And it also outlines the categories of persons who may be granted social protection benefits, the types of social protection benefits offered under the Act, the eligibility criteria, as well as the procedure for applying for the benefits. It also provides for the reviews and appeals against the decisions of the board, the rights and obligations of beneficiaries, the consequences of abusing social protection benefits, and the circumstances under which social protection benefits may be terminated or refunds made to the board. Also provides for the review of social protection benefits, the indexation of social protection benefits, and the establishment of a social protection registry. This is a bill that is on the floor of the Senate, a bill that seeks to reduce the poverty and vulnerability of persons in the society and improve their well-being by providing assistance, services and programs that build human capital and cushion people against risks and contingencies throughout their life cycle. There are already programs. However, in this particular bill, there is a proposal for the establishment of a national board for social protection. It will be defining the mandate that the board will be taking, its composition, and the powers and the sources of funds as well, so that as they carry out the mandate that is bestowed on them, then accountability and transparency shall be adhered to regarding that. The bill also provides for offences, and in the offences created under the bill, this bill include the prohibition of obstructions, the prohibition of persons from giving false information, as well as unlawful disclosure of information. All right, let's listen in.
For order number 9, we will move to order number 10, and thereafter maybe come back to order number 9. Clerk, proceed to call that order.
Order number 10, Committee of the Whole, the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023, consideration of His Excellency the President's recommendations.
Honorable Senators, it's good to be attentive. Senator Shakila.
Honorable Senators, we are in the Committee of the Whole, the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023. President's recommendation on Clause 2, Clerk.
President's recommendation on Clause 2.
I propose the question that the President's recommendation Clause 2 be approved. Chairperson Jelak.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. I wish to move that the recommendation is approved as provided for in the order paper. And generally, Mr. Chairman, this is as regards what we term as undeclared assets, which has ably been run through in the order paper.
I put the question that the President's recommendation Clause 2 be approved, division at the end.
President's recommendation on Clause 5.
Senator Cherargei, I've already put the question. Cherargei, I've already put the question. It is allowed, but you should have. Senator Cherargei, can you make your sentiments known in the next, when I put the question on the next clause? Yes.
President's recommendation on Clause 5.
I propose the question that the President's recommendation Clause 5 be approved. Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the President's recommendation be approved as proposed. And specifically, Mr. Chairman, this is a definition as regards a reporting authority. And the committee indeed did approve that the reporting authority be deleted so that we retain that it is only one that the law provides, that is the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission.
Senator Cherargei.
Mr. Speaker, on these clauses, on the clause, can the mover sit? Mr. Speaker, can the mover sit as I speak? He is violating standing orders where you cannot see me. So, Speaker, mine is a comment on the issue of affinity. You know the definition of affinity. I have seen that relative means a person who is related to a public officer by birth, marriage, adoption, or affinity. Mr. Speaker, I think we should drop the word affinity because the definition of affinity in English language, the Oxford Dictionary, means the liking of a person. So does it mean if I've been your friend for some time and I have close affinity, then it is defined as a relative? Mr. Speaker, I find it would have been consanguinity affinity, as in closeness by blood, as my learned colleagues would define, Mr. Speaker. So I think on this memorandum, it should only stop at adoption, because the moment you add affinity, it changes meaning. It means somebody you are affinity to as a friend, be it a male or a female, or somebody you banter with, or somebody you work with. So, Mr. Speaker, I think this one is on the issue of ethics report. I think that definition should be ethics and anti-corruption. If the definition comes out as ethics only, then we can equate to the Ethics Commission, but it should be Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. So on the issue of affinity, Mr. Speaker, and then, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of undeclared asset, the manner that has been proposed. Mr. Speaker, let me reserve those to close number 6 so that I can make that comment at that point. So on this issue of affinity, we must drop it, Mr. Speaker, because it is unfair. It will, Mr. Speaker, in fact, in conclusion, it will undermine freedom of association as provided by the Constitution. Because affinity allows friendships. It allows acquaintances, Mr. Speaker. So if you say we cannot, if a public officer is found to have committed an economic crime, Mr. Speaker, it means those people close to him, associates, which is not properly defined by law, can run into problems, therefore undermining the principle and the freedom of association as per the Constitution. So in it is a nullity, so speak. It's a nullity. And I hope the chairperson of JLAC is listening this keenly. It is dangerous because the moment we come for you, God forbid, for Senator Haji, over an economic crime, it means friends like Cherargei can be in trouble. So, Speaker, we must drop this for the interest and for not undermining freedom of association within the setup. And we also, you know, families, Mr. Speaker, are so huge in African setup. In fact, I have many cousins that the last time I saw them was years and years. So, Mr. Speaker, that is only my worry. On the issue of undeclared assets, I'll come back on clause number 6. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the indulgence.
Senator Mungatana.
Thank you. Is it on? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am very alive to the fact that overriding a presidential memorandum is an uphill task as per the Constitution, but we must go on record so that maybe if matters go to court, the intention of the legislature can be interpreted from the record by the lawyers who will be there. And the worry here about the affinity definition, it is so wide, so that a person who wants to enforce, and here I'm looking at the ESCC, they are the enforcing authority. If they are going to define relative to mean a person who is related to the public officer by birth, by marriage, adoption, or affinity. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the first three, there is no discussion about it. But when you come to the fourth one, affinity, it is so loose that somebody can actually use that to harm people or to just destroy somebody. It means that when they're enforcing anything against a public officer, they can go for any person, really any person, whom they think they have some form of affinity or association. This means every friend that you stay with, every person you play basketball with, any person you go to church with, even your church members, even every place, literally, the members of your social welfare group. Mr. Speaker, I think this word, there's a problem here, and the intention cannot be to expose people to this extent, and it's obviously in conflict with the freedom of association article in the Constitution, which means even if it passes here, somebody should pick it, and we go and remove this word through the courts, because this is wrong. I don't know what the thinking was here. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Osotsi.
Mr. Speaker, just like Senator Mungatana said, actually overriding a presidential referral is an uphill task, because it requires 2/3 members of this House to change that. But I think it should go on record that there is an ambiguity in this definition for a relative, particularly the word affinity. What is affinity? It's ambiguous. Mr. Speaker, you can have an affinity to many, even in this House. between you and me, we have some affinity because we are senators. So if I commit a crime, you will be arrested, Mr. Speaker, because of me. I think this word will be used for political persecution. Because, for example, we are in political parties. We are put in that political party through some affinity. So, if I commit a crime, or my party leader, or my deputy party leader, or my SG, they will come for me. So, Mr. Speaker, we must clearly indicate that as legislators, we have a problem with this word affinity. And I know at this point we can't do much about it because we need 2/3 of members of this House to override that. But it must go on record that this House was uncomfortable with the definition of the word relative. And Mr. Speaker, this foreign legislation, which are forced on us, is what is creating problems in this country. Even now, we are talking about Gen Zs and all that, too much freedom. It's because we adopted a constitution that this country was not ready for. And that's why we're having problems. This piece of legislation, Mr. Speaker, is going to cause problems in this country. Because it is going to be used for political persecution, is going to be used to intimidate people. Today I will be in government, tomorrow I'm not in government. They will come for me, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to register my disapproval of the definition of the word relative. And it should go on record that on this particular day, this House, members of this House were in agreement that this definition is vague and something has to be done. Even if the bill is passed, we must amend it to make it, remove that ambiguity, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't support that definition.
Senator Esther Okinyuri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also wish to join my colleagues to express displeasure, especially in the definitions, lack of clear definitions, especially for family, relative, and affinity. Because, Mr. Speaker, in as much as we want to curb loopholes in the public sector, if you do not clearly state whom you're targeting here, we might end up exposing even people who are very innocent, so long as they associate with us to this proposal, Chair. So I feel as a Senate, we need to keenly look at this, either by providing an alternative way of defining who is family to you, who is a relative, and affinity, who are these who are close to you that we want to target, Chair. So if we don't clearly define those three, we might actually expose very innocent people to some of the issues we are trying to curb, Chair. Thank you.
Senator Mandago.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I want to join my colleagues on this matter of definition of affinity and the general definition of a relative and family, Honorable Speaker, Chair. The definition of family here, the spouse, dependent child or parent of a public officer, a dependent child of the spouse or public officer, or a parent of the spouse of a public officer. Relative means a person who is related to a public officer by birth, marriage, adoption, or affinity. Chair, even relationship by birth should even be made very clear. Because in the African context of relationship by birth, my cousin brother, whose father is brother to my father, in the African context, is defined as being people related on one bloodline. Chair, I really don't understand what this bill wants to address. Just as Senator Cherargei said,
we have so many relatives who we are even related by blood, but we don't know what they do for their everyday living. Is this bill telling us then that we as public officers should declare all our relatives, and the government should meet their daily subsistence needs, because as soon as this bill passes, or this memorandum passes, it means those people might end up stopping what they have been doing for their daily livelihood, and they will be then dependent on the public officer. Is the government ready to provide subsistence? This thing of affinity, Chair, should actually be deleted. And we should even give a new definition. It should actually stop at an adopted, where we have adoption. This affinity is so wide that it will be open to abuse, Chair. And because some of these institutions, we cannot say they are immune to being politically weaponized, we should make our definitions very accurate. I have a problem also on the undeclared assets means and any asset that is not disclosed in the prescribed manner. Chair, if I've declared an asset and probably in the sentences I've missed one or two letters or missed this, if you go down in that bill, it means that this asset should be forfeited. I think the law should be providing an opportunity for further details, for further inquiry. But for you to just say that because you missed, probably you missed, you are declaring your land and you have said block 13/1671 instead of stroke 1617, then you forfeit that asset because you have not declared it in a prescribed manner. Chair, that will be a problem. We cannot and we should not allow this house to be used by financial institutions that want to make it difficult for Kenyans to do business, that wants to make it difficult for the economy of this country to grow, so that we continue borrowing from them by passing legislations and amendments such as this, Chair. So I wanted to go on record on that, that we need as a house to look at that definition and leave the word affinity, and even the undeclared assets, what means any asset that is not disclosed, Chair, that should be dropped completely. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Senators, yes, I see that there is a lot of interest in making comments on this clause. I'm afraid that we might, because after 5 senators have spoken, it will just be repetition. Can we go to the next clause and then we give you an opportunity? Are you going to repeat anything that has already been said? Senator Ojenda?
Chair, I know, and yes, I know that some of these amendments are extraneously driven, and the intention as expressed by Senator Mandago is we'll have the result of stifling business, stifling development, and I want senators to open their eyes. The public officers in question, Chair, are not senators or members of parliament. Contemplate a public officer as a chief or a primary school teacher with many relatives in the village. And that public officer, Chair, is supplying maize to a school or to a government office in the village. Now, Chair, most Africans do not even know who their relatives are, because we have extended relatives. So that definition is problematic, because at times we cannot even define who our relatives are. And then lastly, I just want to, this is with a perspective, agree with Mandago. On the undisclosed assets or named assets, either by error, perhaps negligence, or out of lack of valuation, you will lose an asset. Yeah, this is a serious thing. Senator Osothi's concern is about the threshold, but we have a problem here. Yeah. The only way to make sure this does not pass is by denying ML quorum and walking out. Then now this will not pass.
Senator Professor Ojienda, I was really looking forward to your ingenious submission, which I actually missed. Senator Abbas, I hope you are not going to repeat what has already been said.
No, I'm not going to say that. Honorable Speaker, I think by nature nobody commits offense as proxy on behalf of somebody else, unless it's something somebody hired or these things. But in terms of, we have all our adults, and they carry their own crosses. So whatever your brother, you don't even know where he is, maybe he could be in another world of the world, you could be somewhere else, it commits, then you cannot take the responsibility for it, or your relative. So I oppose the amendment.
Senator Navindu.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. And because I don't want to repeat what others have said, I'll just comment on, and Chair, I wish, ML, can I borrow the ears of the Chair, please? Chair, I will not repeat what others have said, but this amendment, the way it is, it will cause a lot of problems to many others. And I'll read a scripture in the Bible. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 18 and verse 20, highlights that the mistakes of a father will never be condemned to a child. So this is not right. Because if anyone does wrong, they should carry their own cross, but not any relative, not any child, not any affiliation, as in the definition of affinity. This is quite wrong. It's not biblical, and it is not good for anyone. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Mohamed Faki.
Mwenyekiti, mimi pia natoa kauli yangu kupinga kipengee hichi kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Mwenyekiti, nilinde na kamishna hapa
na kusikiza
ambaye ni senior counsel na Ojienda pia ni senior counsel. Mheshimiwa Speaker anasema kwa kipengee hichi ni kinyume na hata maadili ya Kiafrika. Kwa sababu Kiafrika tunaishi kama jamii moja. Kwa hivyo kwa mfano mimi ni senator, lakini mtoto wangu ameajiriwa na ofisi ya ODPP. Kwa hivyo yeye inawezekana kutokea shida katika ofisi yake, nilaumiwe mimi ambaye ni senator, ambaye niko kivyangu na ninafanya kazi zangu tofauti na yeye. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Speaker, hii sheria yapinga maadili ya Kiafrika na vile vile ni kinyume na katiba, kwa sababu huwezi kumnyonga mtu au kumnyang'anya mali yake bila ya kumpa nafasi ya kujieleza kisheria. Kwa hivyo twapinga kipengee hichi na tuomba kiondolewe mara moja katika hiyo memorandum ambayo rais ameleta kuhusiana na hiyo sheria ya maadili. Asante Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Thank you, Senators. We shall proceed. I put the question that the President's recommendation on Clause 5 be approved, division at the end. Next.
President's recommendation on Clause 6.
I propose the question that the President's recommendation on Clause 6 be approved. Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Chairman. In the course of the committee's consideration of the recommendation or reservations under Clause 6, the committee indeed observed and agreed with the proposals that the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission be given the sole mandate to implement this particular act once it's passed, and the further recommendation that the committee made is in concurrence is that the reservations on this particular clause will need the strengthening of the technical and budgetary capacity and allocation to EACC in order for it to be facilitated to administer and effectively implement the provisions of this particular act. That is the impact of the committee's recommendation on the reservations under Clause 6. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Cherage, will you be commenting on every clause? Okay, then let us also recognize that we are not debating, so you need to be brief. Please keep your comments in less than 3 minutes.
Mr. Chairperson, you know you are not also immune if this comes to law. It will disrupt our daily lives. Speaker, institute proceedings for forfeiture or undeclared or unexplained. Mr. Speaker, this recommendation is very unfortunate. Because, Mr. Speaker, we are aware, either by error or design or default, either by KRA or EACC, when they are doing inventory of your assets, they can leave it unexplained, Mr. Speaker. We are aware of cases where the authority, Mr. Speaker, I wish the two senators, Mr. Speaker, they are blocking you, yet the standing orders is very clear that there should be no one between you and the Speaker. The table office, what is happening? Senior counsel, he just chatted in. He should go and relax and recover from jet lag. So, Speaker, he should institute proceedings from forfeiture of unexplained or unexplained, and is the former chair of EACC, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you should be listening. You should be listening, senior counsel. You know you can be old, but you don't have a brain. Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying, institute proceedings, Mr. Speaker, for forfeiture and unexplained assets. Therefore, the question should be, if it is left out, Mr. Speaker, if it is left out, either by design, these unexplained assets, Mr. Speaker, you might lose your property, Mr. Speaker. So I think this amendment, I go with the proposal by the Committee of JLAC on this particular amendment to this memorandum by His Excellency the President. I rest my case, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mugeni.
Speaker, the only comment I wanted to make is let's deal with this clause very carefully. I've had the benefit of looking at all the anti-corruption agencies in Africa, including the most successful ones in Rwanda, the one in Botswana, the one in Ghana. You never mix declaration of assets with an anti-corruption commission. There is nowhere in Africa where that role is domiciled in an anti-corruption commission. So as we look at this amendment, we need to also proceed with caution, because we, as lawyers, we know that you don't mix functions of an investigative agency, okay, with a body that is receiving reports to look at any criminal aspect in it. So we need to pass a bill that can pass the test of the time. And we are not an island. We have many examples to learn from all over Africa, you know. In fact, if you go to Tanzania, the declarations are received by the public service. That's the regime that has been prevailing even in this country. It didn't come from nowhere. It's because we borrowed from what is happening in other jurisdictions. You go to South Africa, the same thing. So we need to be very careful that we pass a law that is aligned with the constitutional provisions, Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Enoch Wambua.
Chair, my problem with that clause as proposed is that, you know, Chair, we have the Unclaimed Financial Assets Act. And I was thinking that maybe the best thing would have been to enhance that act to extend to assets, so that you don't pile a lot of work to the EACC, which is already doing the investigations, and then they go and do forfeitures and dealing with the unclaimed and uncleared assets. Why can't we do an amendment to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Act and give that role to institutions under that act? Mr. Speaker, I oppose that proposal.
I put the question that the President's recommendation on Clause 6 be approved, division at the end. Next.
President's recommendation on Clause 8.
I propose the question that the President's recommendation on Clause 8 be approved. Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. This is a proposal as regards the conflict of interest of a public officer and the situation or circumstances under which a public officer would be deemed to be having a conflict of interest existing. And in the observations of the committee, it's noted that the amendment or reservation as was proposed is to expand the conflict of interest to entail real conflict of interest, perceived and or potential. And the committee did indeed we propose that we progress as it has been placed in the order paper. Chairman, thank you very much.
I put the question that the President's recommendation on Clause 8 be approved, division at the end. Next.
President's recommendation on Clause 12.
I propose the question that the President's recommendation on Clause 12 be approved. Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The effect of the reservations under Clause 12 is to introduce an aspect in the text to the clause where the term good faith is introduced. And Mr. Chairman, I propose that we progress as per the order paper.
I put the question that the President's recommendation on Clause 12 be approved, division at the end. Next.
President's recommendation on Clause 16.
I propose the question that the President's recommendation on Clause 16 be approved. Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, the effect of the reservations under Clause 16 from the Presidential Memorandum is to ensure that public officers are prohibited against receiving gifts or favors from persons who are working within the offices. And Mr. Chairman, I propose that we proceed with it as per the order paper. Thank you.
Senator Cherargei.
Mr. Chairperson, I don't know why the majority leader wants to disrupt the House. Mr. Chairperson, and I'm happy my learned senior counsel Okongo Mugeni is here. The import of clause number 16, Mr. Speaker, we have just said we don't know who our relatives are. This amendment is being done by World Bank and other foreign entities that do not understand the African culture. Mr. Speaker, where you come from, I know a number of your cousins, Mr. Speaker, and there are 1,001s, although in our culture you don't say the definite number, Mr. Speaker. This issue of bringing Wazungu type, you know, Wazungu get only 2 children, or they are there and only 1 dog. You know, Mr. Speaker, we need to be fair. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the writer of some book, I'm forgetting, and I only have 1 teacher, which I recognize as senior counsel, Professor Tomo Gienda, Mr. Speaker, that the definition, the importation of the law was even a proposal to Africanize. Mr. Speaker, this law that has been brought here does not recognize the culture and our way of life. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, you don't know your cousins. The last time you met them has been ages and ages. Others do not live. Then it says, where a public officer has a knowledge that your relative or a family member has received So every evening, Mr. Speaker, you'll be going and asking your spouse, did you receive a gift today? Did you receive a favor? Will you be calling your relatives like Professor Tom Agenda? Will you be calling your relatives in Migori? Mr. Speaker, in Kitui, in Nyamira? Mr. Speaker, this amendment is made in bad faith. And it negates anything about our African culture and even religion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we oppose it with all our body organs because this thing is not fair, Mr. Speaker. It is not fair. Mr. Speaker, if we want to do things, even we are not saying corruption should not be fought, but we should fight corruption. Why should you deny my relatives to live their life simply because I am a state officer? If I have a child, which I don't, for record, who is above 18 years, they are paying taxes, Mr. Speaker. Why do you want to stifle? I don't know whether Senator Sikei children have reached the age of 18 years, but I doubt. Mr. Speaker, they are paying taxes. Why would you want to stifle their lives or to align their life to be with the life of the state officer, Mr. Speaker? Even the president's children, even the vice president, even the senators, even the governor's spouses and children and relatives, they have a right to live in this country and do their business, including your children, Mr. Speaker. So this thing is undermining not only the African culture, but even the religion and our way of life. Mr. Speaker, I totally oppose it.
Senator Osotsi.
Mr. Speaker, this is another amendment that is very annoying. And I think this house is the house that is going to help Kenyans. Because if you look at Article 115 of the Constitution, where the referral was based, it talks about 2/3. We can easily raise 2/3 here. The other house will have difficulties raising the 2/3. But us, we can raise 2/3 and reject even these referrals that have been made by the president. Because, in fact, the referrals contain amendments which are even worse than the initial amendments that were there, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge the House that before we even vote for this, can we get our 2/3 members here? We can get 2/3 in this House, Mr. Speaker, so that we reject these referrals and even, if possible, delete all the clauses from this bill, Mr. Speaker.
Senators, please stick to your reservations on the amendment. Let us not deviate and start debating. I already reminded senators that we are not debating. And be brief. Senator Mogeni.
I think this is a very good clause, if I understand it well. It is saying we should not peddle influence. For example, Cherage may not have children, but there are leaders in this country of children. What this clause is saying, we don't want anybody to send gifts to the children of the president, deputy president, senator, or member of National Assembly. So we want discipline, yes. We don't want them to receive gifts. Because they come to Harambes and say, I was given a gift to bring to an Harambe. We want to bring that to a stop. So this one, let it stay. If you are a child of the president, deputy president, governor, senator, you should not CEO, you should not receive any gift. So even I'm saying this so that even the children of the president take note that the Senate is passing a bill that will prevent them from receiving gifts from anybody else on behalf or using the influence of the father or the mother. So this one I'm okay with it, but we start from the top. We start from the doorstep of the president, then come to the doorstep of the deputy president, then go to the governor, go to the senator, go to the women rep, go to the member of National Assembly, then we go to CEOs, everybody. So once this law is passed, Mr. Speaker, let us all be now equal. No receiving gifts. I support.
Senator Wambua.
Well, Speaker, you know, we should also not pass laws in vain. And this is one instance where we are trying to pass a piece of legislation clearly just in vain. Because, Mr. Speaker, the definition of a relative and a family member in the African context, it's so wide that, I mean, unless you have nothing else to do, that when you wake up every day, the only thing you have to do is to find out from all your relatives who has received a gift, who has not received a... surely there are some things that, you know, I mean, and we even make the determination that I have knowledge of receipt of those gifts. The Speaker, Chairman, this is one recommendation that I am actually almost, and I don't want to cast aspersions on my colleagues in the JLAC, to imagine that this thing can pass the way it is. Surely, I mean, Chairman, this must be dead on arrival. Even if you wanted to, you cannot enforce it. How do you enforce this? How do you even do it? How do you do it? So this one, you actually this one cannot.
Senator Mandago.
Yes, Chair. On the issue of gifts, Chair, where our problem is where it says you should have knowledge. If your relative receives a gift, for heaven's sake, I have relatives from all the way from Tanzania to Laikipia to West Pokot, and there is even a rumor that I have some relatives in Turkana. How will I tell that they have received a gift and what value? Whereas I would be inclined to agree with what Senator Omogeni is saying, but then let's amend the Unclaimed Assets Act so that we can put that there, because to me it makes sense, but not in this bill.
Senator Kavindu, what is your point of order?
Order 1. There is no quorum, Mr. Speaker. We have no quorum.
Let us confirm. Very well, Senators, we do not seem to have a quorum. We shall ring the bell for 10 minutes. Sergeant at Arms, 10 minutes.
Well, again, the House has faced a quorum hitch during the proceedings. This is a point of order that has been raised by the Honorable Senator for Machakos, Honorable Agnes Kavindu. The House was considering the President's recommendations on the Conflict of Interest Bill, a bill originating from the National Assembly, Bill number 12 of 2023. This is a business that was being considered at the Committee of the Whole. However, during that particular session or proceedings, the Honorable Senator for Machakos, Agnes Kavindu, indicated to the chair that the House does not have the requisite quorum that is needed during the proceedings of the Senate. And on clarification from the clerk, it was determined that indeed the House has lacked a quorum. The House, as you can see now, actually all the members, or rather a big number of members, have even walked out of the chambers. But we understand the business that was on the floor was the consideration of the President's recommendations on the Conflict of Interest Bill 2023. Some amendments that were moved, or some proposals that have been moved in the particular bill. Remember, these are recommendations that were forwarded to the Senate, or rather Parliament. For the Senate, the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs went through the amendments as proposed, or the proposals from the President. And this afternoon, the committee was leading the members of the Senate in taking into consideration some of the proposals. There are a number of issues that the senators have taken concern with. Some of the clauses that have been moved as recommendations into the particular bill. One of the concerns that the members of the Senate have raised was with regards to the definition of a relative. One that they pointed out, the word affinity. That means a closeness to an individual. And their concern was with regards to whether that person has to be related to the individual or the public officer by blood, or just friendship, or just by association, which is what that affinity word means. And they had taken an issue with that particular word, indicating that there is need for a clear definition of the word relative to ensure that it does not alter its meaning regarding blood relations or friendship that is not blood related. And the members were indicating that that particular clause, or that particular recommendation, must be dropped, indicating that it is unfair and might as well undermine the freedom of association by the different public officers as they go about their duties. Some of the other concerns that the members have raised this afternoon regarding the recommendations, clause that was clause number 5, clause number 6, regarding undeclared assets, that they say that the EACC, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, does not necessarily have or need to have the sole mandate to implement the act, indicating that there is already existing law, and that is the Unclaimed Financial Assets Act. They were indicating that that act can be enhanced to be able to take into consideration that particular mandate, and ensure that the House does not bombard the EACC with various mandates that can be undertaken by other bodies, including the unclaimed assets that can be undertaken by the Unclaimed Financial Assets body. The members also took an issue with clause 16. This is a clause that has indicated or is proposing that public officers, or that seeks to ensure that public officers are prohibited from receiving gifts or favors given by persons perhaps working within the offices that they are in. And these are some of the concerns that the senators have so far raised. Remember, this is a bill that was published on the 3rd of April 2023. Thereafter, it was considered and passed by the National Assembly with amendments on 30th November 2023. And it was referred to the Senate pursuant to Article 110 of the Constitution and was passed by the Senate again with amendments on 4th of June 2024. Taken back to the National Assembly, considered and rejected the Senate amendments to the bill on 24th of July 2024. And consequently, pursuant to Articles 112 and 113 of the Constitution, a mediation committee was appointed to consider and develop a version, or rather a mediated version of the bill that may be passed by both houses. And the mediated version of the bill was approved by the National Assembly on 5th of December 2024, and by the Senate again on the 8th of April 2025, following which it was transmitted to the President for assent. And by a memorandum dated 28th April 2025, His Excellency the President referred the bill back to Parliament with reservations, recommending the reconsideration of a number of clauses, and that is what the House has been doing this afternoon. Just to point out on the clauses that the President recommended for reconsideration include Clause 2, Clause 5, Clause 6, Clause 8, Clause 12, 16, 17, 18, 20, 30, 31, and 35 of the bill. And these recommendations were initially considered by the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of the Senate. And this afternoon, the committee has been leading the House at the Committee of the Whole in considering these recommendations. But what we have seen so far, before the interruption on the point of order indicating that the House lacks a quorum during its proceedings, the House was considering clause number 16, the one that the proposal indicates that or seeks to ensure that public officers are prohibited from receiving gifts or favors given by persons known to them or working within the offices or the public service offices. And this is the point that the Senator for Machakos rose at a point of order to indicate that the House has lacked quorum. Well, let's listen in.
Chairperson. Chairperson, proceed.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole on the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023, has lacked quorum to proceed with the business.
Leader of Majority, the quorum bell rang for a period of 10 minutes. Unfortunately, we were unable to raise the quorum, and the the 10 minutes had since lapsed, and the chairperson has reported. Order, Senate Majority Leader. Senator Cherargei, Majority Leader.
Standing order.
Take your seats. Senate Majority Leader, take your seat. Senator Aaron Turion. Senator Professor Ojenda. Honorable Senators, having failed to attain quorum at the expiry of 10 minutes in the committee, the Senate stands adjourned pursuant to Standing Order 41-2B until tomorrow, Thursday, 10th July 2025 at 2:30 p.m.
We have quorum.
Confirm whether we have quorum, clerk. Sergeant at arms, link the quorum of the bell for 10 minutes.